Yo, what it do, what it do? It's your boy Yehloe the Poet, and I'm here on YTP Entertainment with Miss Deb Curtis. Miss Deb Curtis definitely has no limitations, barriers, and unleashed potential with God, grace, and grace.
Yes.
Do not underestimate Miss Deb Curtis. She is awesome, and I am definitely looking forward to having you tell us more about you and what you do. And please, thank you so much for coming on to YTP Entertainment. We definitely welcome you. By all means, start us off with letting us know more about you and what you do.
YTP, what do it be? My cheeks are hurting from smiling from that whole intro. I'm going to hang on to that one forever. Oh, wow. Come on now, people. If you're listening, sign up to be a guest just to get a welcome like that. Woo! I loved it. Thank you. Anyways, glad to be here. Glad to be here.
Thank you so much.
I have to thank Podmatch for bringing us together, and I think God has a way to bring people together too. So Podmatch is where it's at with Alex leading the chain there. That's how you and I got to find each other, and yeah, let that platform grow, because everybody has a voice of their own reason, a voice of their own passion, and here are the places, that you can speak it, sing it, or like YTP, bring poetic to it and get the message across. Let's go, people. So thank you.
Looking to help everybody understand the fine poetic experience as to what a floetic star can actually do to help you be a better person.
I love it. I love it. Yeah. So who am I? Do I need to answer that, or is that?
I just want you to let everybody know what you do, because
thank you.
I'm pretty sure you wear many hats, and you have worn many hats throughout your time. So
yeah. Well, you know it. Actually, my birthday's coming up, and I'm on the other side of the big 5-0. So the big 5-0. Let me tell you, it's been a journey, and I think I am more wise now than I ever have been before, just based on my journey through personal life and corporate. And we all would say the same thing based on how old we are.
Yes. I'm 51 and proud.
You're 51?
Yes,
you're 51. You're in good shape. You got to be. YTP's he's in shape, man, for 51. I need to get to the gym. oh man. Anyways, I am a small town rural girl, and as you and I were talking before showtime here, just north of the big windy city, beautiful Chicago, in Wisconsin, southeastern Wisconsin, right on the border. Actually was born and raised my first few years in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Go Bucks, go Giannis. We got killed by the Miami Heat first round. It's all right.
Hey.
We win something even when we lose something, and there's always a message in every loss. So just take it and come back and try again.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. So my daddy moved us out to this rural area in between the two cities, Milwaukee and Chicago, and I had a rough childhood. My parents got divorced. My mom got involved in drugs and alcohol, and I just felt like love was missing in the house, because there were a lot of arguments. My mom was very bipolar. She was adopted herself. She was born in Chicago with polio, and her real biological parents, just like you see on the fire reality, not reality shows, the fire drama shows, she was dropped off on a fire station step when she was a baby, and lived in social homes until somebody decided to adopt her. So she pretty much had a lot of issues mentally, a rough life. And when my parents got divorced, that's when she was involved in alcohol and drugs. And the ironic thing, YTP, is my daddy moved us out of the city to get away from that. And drugs and alcohol doesn't matter. They don't care. They're going to move in anywhere.
Exactly. That is so true. That is
so she and the neighbor ladies that in the 70s, they were stay-home moms taking care of the kids. But while the kids were in school, they were, dancing around and drugs and alcohol. And then along with that comes other stuff that's not good for a marriage and a home life. And I ended up being abandoned at age 10 and threatened. And long story short, my dad got custody of me. And then we moved into a single apartment. He got remarried again, kind of like a rebound marriage. You've heard of those before. Yep. So we moved in with this new wife, which was really rather quick from the first marriage divorce of 18 years. Well, that second marriage didn't work out. She didn't want anything to do with me because all of his love was being split now with me, the daughter that moved in. So that ended real fast. Wow. So here I am, 12 years old. I'm constantly either abandoned, not loved, told everything that I'm less than. And graduated high school, couldn't afford college. There was no university degree on a piece of paper called a resume. My daddy couldn't afford it. And all he told me was work hard. You just got to work hard and find your way. So I worked hard, got married to my first husband, who was an alcoholic and in jail numerous times for domestic abuse.
Wow.
Yeah. And here's the story so far. I just was looking for love in all the wrong places because I grew up feeling abandoned and less than. And I just was trying to find my way, YTP, trying to find a way to feel seen and feel loved. And I just kept going into the wrong places for it, right? So then introduced corporate America, and those same habits were with me, but it was a little bit more difficult because I didn't have that college education, and I was a female that decided to go into a very male-dominated industry, not knowing it was male-dominated. And that's where 30 years of my corporate life was a wake-up call to where I am today. And to make a long story short, YTP, I experienced as a white girl in a very white male-dominated industry that it's very disparate. The treatment is very unfair, not only for women, but for all people of color. And I'm not here to talk negatively or bash a certain demographic, being white men. It's just that there was many more privileges for them than the rest of us. And that's no surprise. You talk to anyone and they're going to agree. Yeah. So my first job in corporate of 18 years, I was surpassing the men. I was the only female on the team, surpassing the men in my performance and sales numbers without that degree on a piece of paper. And I wanted to be promoted to a branch manager. So I positively, persistently kept asking, and they kept telling me, no, we don't promote women into these roles.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this is in the 90s. So I'm not so sure you could get away with that today. Maybe you can, in a culture of silence, which that does happen today. They will find reasons otherwise to promote men. And that did happen recently as well. But I kept pushing YTP, and finally they said, we'll promote you, but we're not going to pay you. And we're going to put you on a 6-month probation to see how you do. That must have been my college education right there. At least I didn't have to pay for it. I was getting paid and having to prove to them that I can do this job like the guys can.
Exactly.
So guess what? My daddy told me, work hard at whatever you do and you'll find your way. And I surpassed the guys, didn't get paid more. finally they agreed to promote me. And I took finally that position and pasted it on my resume because that was the key to get into other positions to try to climb the corporate ladder.
Yes, indeed.
Right? But you know what happened? Anytime I applied for something higher, a grade level higher, it still came back that I don't have that college education.
Wow.
Listen, I wasn't going to be a cardiologist. I didn't. Thank you. It was sales. And I proved to them on the resume being a top performer and all the accolades, but it didn't matter. I didn't have an education. Even if I told them, listen, my family couldn't afford an education.
Exactly.
So why am I being discounted? Again, I'm not applying to be a cardiologist and operate on somebody's heart.
Exactly.
I'm just servicing customers and working on loans and understanding credit and financials. Didn't matter. So I just kept pushing and pushing. And I noticed every job stop YTP was more of the same.
Wow.
And yeah. So as time progressed, I started to realize, being an only woman in this industry, or there's very few, I help individuals that want to purchase, finance, establish small businesses. I help them get credit at the bank that's backed by the SBA. So what I noticed was a lot of disparity and biases among my male peers of only selecting who they wanted to work with. And I would bring that up to my supervisors because they would more or less cherry pick what they wanted to do. And I was more of trying to help everybody find a way to get the deal done, because that's called integrity and doing the right thing per bank regulations, that it's fair and equal credit, right?
Yes.
Didn't matter when you discuss that with the supervisors. All I did was put a big target on my head and my back. And you can go to HR and have discussions and be positive around it and persistent, but they're not going to help you.
Yeah.
They just would rather get rid of you. Yeah.
I'm very bad.
Yeah. So my story and my message is, my last stop was even the same, more of the same. Seeing it with borrowers applying and other loan officers being very biased and opinionated and just cherry picking what they wanted. And then again, I myself was treated poorly because of that. And I was the only girl on the team. So I left, and now I'm on my own. And now I am a voice of reason to help all women, all minorities, creating unity and diversity in small business ownership through acquisition of established money-making businesses across our country. Why? Because the number one applicant acquiring these businesses is the white male corporate leader. The same ones that have made it difficult for me are making it difficult for you and I to be a business owner of an established money-making business. Why is that? Because it's more of the same, YTP, more of the same. And I'm preaching today, ladies and gentlemen, because we are done, and I'm changing the narrative. And one day I'm going to write myself a poem and I'm going to speak it like you, my friend. So what do you got for me?
Yes, indeed. I love it. I love it. And I'm women's empowerment. I don't care what the nationality, the race, color, the creed. I don't care anything about any of that. Women's empowerment needs to be advocated across the world, because for one, women are not our just our counterparts, but women are also equal. If you don't understand what that means, you think about it. Let's take, for example, the stay-at-home mom. What does the stay-at-home mom do? She works at home. She does things at home that you probably don't even help her with. Therefore, she's equal because she's doing things that you probably don't help her with. She can't help you with your job because she doesn't go to your job with you.
Mm-hmm.
Let's think about single moms and being a single parent, single dad for 8 years myself. I understand what single moms go through. So for those of you who has never been through those things, guess what? It's an eye opener. It's something that we can be awakened from. Women are more equal than you can possibly think. Women give birth. Women go through pregnancies. Women go through aches and pains that a man cannot possibly stand, fathom, or even bear to go through. There's a lot more to this, but I'm telling you, those things right there are at the top of the list. And if you cannot get with the program, partner, step out of the world because you are not in reality. You're in this false narrative that where you think that there is only one type of people, and we feel like this, not only for the women, but we also feel like this for the minorities of the world. It's time to get rid of the good old boy system because the
Thank
good old
you.
boy system is not allowing anyone to grow except them.
And they know who they are. They
Yes, indeed.
know who they are.
Yes, indeed. They definitely know who they are.
Yeah, and the problem is it's a culture of silence in corporate America.
Mhm.
The teams I worked on, the other women that maybe were in different departments were very aware of what was going on, but they didn't want to say anything for fear of retaliation.
Yes,
They got
yes,
to
yes.
survive with that paycheck. So they would rather not say something to an interview like HR, and you can throw out those freaking monkey surveys that are confidential. How do you like your job? They all say, we're going to tell them we love it. What are you going to say? I don't like it because there's discrimination around here? Come on.
You can say that, and then you'll be the next person walking out the door.
Oh,
You've
yeah.
been promoted to the unemployment line.
Thank you. Target on your back.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not an opportunity for us to be open as a people who working for someone else. Not an opportunity for us to actually give our real selves and our real opportunities to express ourselves. It's not that type of opportunity. The opportunities are only for us to be practically mentally enslaved or to just be a yes man. And I don't care what anybody say, I'm not going to be either one. If
That's
I
right.
lose a million jobs, guess what? As long as I'm continuing to do like this and continuing to spread this word, spread this positivity, and continuing to uplift other people, there's always going to be something out there for me.
Yes. Amen to that. And that would be my message to your listeners. Don't stay stuck in something that's not right. There's other opportunities out there. And sometimes I think I thought it would get better because you get promised that it will, and it never, it is what it is. People are who they are. We
Yes,
all have the same colored heart, but sadly, many hearts don't have the same message in them.
that's true. That is so true.
Yeah.
So true.
Yeah.
So tell me, Miss Deb, how long have you been in your business, your current business?
Yes. My current business, I started in 2018 part-time, doing what I'm doing, which is the same thing that I did when I was working in the banks as an SBA lender. When I was in the banks, I was a jack of all trades, so to speak, taking all credit requests for small business owners.
Mm-hmm.
But the one credit request that stood out the most to me that had the best chance for an underwriter loan approval
Mm-hmm.
was the purchase and established money-making small business versus starting one up from ground zero.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. The best way I can explain it, because there's not enough knowledge out there, except for a certain demographic tends to know about it. That's why I'm on podcast sharing this.
Exactly.
Think of it when you go to the when you go to the grocery store and you're in the produce department, and sometimes they have prepared meals like saran wrap to throw into the crock pot. Well, that's what buying an established business is like. You've got your employees wrapped up in there. They're established. They've been on the job for years. They know how to run the business. You've got customers. They're loyal. They love the name of the business.
Mm-hmm.
They keep coming back. You've got your vendors. So you're buying a business that's all packaged up and ready to go, and you just need to transition in as the new owner.
Mm-hmm.
So where the fear comes in and the misunderstanding is the buyers think, well, I don't have enough money today to pay for a business and pay for my mortgage payment. Well, the business itself that you're buying is established and it's operating and it's making profits.
Mm-hmm.
At least the business that you're going to buy, it has to make profits in order to make that SBA loan project payment for you.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where the income comes from to pay your change of business ownership loan project. Mm-hmm. In addition, some businesses, many of them, the current owner who's leaving and exiting to retire, he's already pulling an officer's salary, paying himself, mm-hmm. that will be transferred to you. Okay. So it's beautiful. And some folks can exit corporate America entirely if they wish, but then I have some buyers who will stay in corporate because maybe they like their job and they've got good benefits. And the key is they need to buy a business that's absentee owned. And that means the current owner trained up all of his people, mm-hmm. so he could basically be semi-retired, enjoying life on the lake, going fishing while his, yeah. So there's all kinds of pieces to the puzzle in these transactions where we have different sets of buyers and different sets of businesses. Mm-hmm. And my job is to put them together. And then I source which banks to go to that will take on this project with the best loan structure. Mm-hmm. And I help the buyers navigate through that. Mm-hmm. Versus you, the buyer, going directly to one bank because they only have one credit box, one credit policy. You really need to be working with someone that's checking out all the different credit policies at all the different banks, finding the best loan structure.
Okay. So can someone without any money be able to do this, as long as they have a particular type of credit score, or does the credit score even matter?
And that's a wonderful question. I come back to answer that with a first-time business owner looking to purchase, finance a business is like a first-time home buyer, right? Mm-hmm. You will need to have some down payment, just like when you buy a house, to get the financing, because the banks want you to have some sweat equity, so to speak, or elbow grease in the deal, known as cash, right?
Yes.
And typically it's 10% down of the overall loan project, mm-hmm. but that 10%, there are other eligible sources to combine with your cash to reduce your overall cash in that 10%, meaning the seller can carry back a portion of the price in a seller note on paper, like 5% of the seller price, meaning then you only need to come up with 5% down. Mm-hmm. So see how I skinny that down a bit?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. And I can even skinny down that 10% where I split it 3 ways. You come up with a third of the cash down. Maybe your grandma, who's elderly, she may have some savings that's earmarked for you when she passes on, mm-hmm. and she may be willing to gift that to you now because you have a dream to take over this business and we just need
Yes.
a letter. Yep, she's gifting you the money and you don't have to pay it back. And then the other third can be in the seller note.
Oh, wow.
So I
Okay.
look at that and try to help mentor my clients how to navigate that.
Mm.
A lot of direct SBA lenders out there, they don't, what's the word? They're more transactional. They
Okay.
just kind of like, here, YTP, fill out this application and then I'll submit it.
Exactly.
Where I'm like, okay, fill it out. Let me look at it. Now let's talk. And how should we reshape it? And I'll ask a lot more questions because my job is to massage everything to get it to a
Yes.
final approval. Yeah.
Yes, indeed. So is there an opportunity for help through like a grant program or something like that? Is that an option?
Yeah, you're on the right track. And thanks for bringing that up to me. Every city, county, state, I always recommend to small business owners, or if you're buying a business in those counties or states or townships, just Google up the names of the county and Google up small business grants. And you will find they're all random. It just depends upon their budget and the economic needs in each of these areas. You can find a grant perhaps to be used toward your down payment. If it's to grow the current business you're acquiring, and that might be, well, YTP, if you're going to buy this business that's been here downtown in your township, if you add 3 more full-time jobs in the next 3 years, we'll give you 50 grand as long as you show us proof that you created 3 jobs in
Yes.
downtown so-and-so. So yes, that can count towards your down payment. They're all different. And, but I bring that up too. I mean, my daddy used to tell me, if there's free money, go get it.
Yes. So
Uh,
with the opportunities for grants, would you have to already be approved for the grant? Or is there some way that you can network between the opportunity to buy the company and the grant? Would that like be as some type of collateral towards getting the grant?
Yeah, you if you're purchase financing an established business, you want to know that grant will have to be approved before the loan is closed because that's going to go towards your down payment.
Mhm.
Or in some cases, if you buy the business and you use your cash, if you want a grant later, perfect. Check into it. You should be checking on an annual basis what kind of grants are available if you are a small business owner. I think of my son-in-law who lives up north and has a business, and he wanted to open up a second location.
Mhm.
And I said exactly what I just told you and your listeners. Just Google up small business grants in your county. He did, and found out that he was able to obtain a $75,000 grant, which helped him purchase a machine for his business.
Mhm.
And he just has to keep his business in downtown of this area for the next 5 years. And if he does, it's forgiven. So,
Awesome.
and it's on standby until that period is over. So they're all different, YTP, they're all different, but make sure you and anyone you know that's a small business owner, always just Google and check or call your local chamber of commerce, and they'll direct you to people that you should talk to as well.
Awesome. So
Mhm.
is this better to do with like for a first timer? Is it better to do with the small business as opposed to trying to make that big leap to a medium or big business?
Oh yeah, I would say so. You got to dip your toes in the water, right?
Yes.
Because the SBA 7A loan programs, it starts anywhere from 350,000 all the way up to 5 million.
Mhm.
You know, it depends what your experience is too. I've had, did I lose you? There we go. I've had engineers, licensed engineers that have been in corporate for 20 years, and they might look at a $4 million company that needs the new owner to be a licensed engineer. That makes sense. Or I might have a restaurant that's selling for 800,000, and I'm speaking to a 30-year-old that has a lot of restaurant experience and now he wants to acquire one. Well, that works too. And that's something that we discuss during my discovery stages of the buyers, like where should you go? One thing I can be very truthful about as well is that a startup small business credit request is much more difficult to obtain an approval than acquiring one that's already working, right? Because in a startup, you really don't receive any income until year 3, if that, right?
Yeah.
So typically startups fail. But when they're successful, thank goodness for them, because they are the heartbeat of our local economies. And there's a lot of wealth transfer happening with small businesses because we're all living longer.
Yes, indeed.
You know, 11,000 baby boomers are retiring per day right now. 11,000.
That's a lot. That's
yeah.
a lot.
And there are business owners in that 11,000, and that trend is going to happen for the next 5 years. They call it the silver tsunami.
Okay. What a name.
I know. Now I color my hair, so I'm not there yet. I'm not part of the silver tsunami.
You're not the only one. So what is how long is the process for from start to finish when you're actually accepted to, purchase a business?
Yeah, the beginning stages can kind of take a little bit longer because we've got to pretty much shape you up and get you all ready to roll. But once I have you pre-qualified as a business buyer, then the next stage is searching for a small business on the market that is eligible, meaning, remember I said there's cash flow that pays that SBA loan payment? Well, many baby boomers over the years, I think of my father, never liked to pay the tax man. They just, right? Nobody wants to pay the tax man.
True.
But small business owners that show a lot of profits, they take a lot of unnecessary expenses to reduce their bottom line. And if you're buying a business where the business seller is lacking in that net income, the profits, it's going to be tough to get financing because that's where the banks have to approve the loan. And the moral to the story is if you're a business owner and you're not reporting your profits to the IRS, you're taking shortcuts so you don't have to pay taxes. Well, this is also a government program, the SBA, and they figured out, well, if you're going to skip paying the government, the IRS taxes on your profits, you're certainly not going to get it twice when you sell your business. So think again before you file your taxes if you're a business owner and you want to sell in the future, right? Yeah.
Yes.
You can't have your cake and eat it twice.
That's true.
Yeah. So, did I answer your question? I lost track there.
Yes, you definitely did. Definitely did. No doubt about that.
Good.
No doubt. You definitely answered my question.
Now, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
I'm going to turn the tables here. You have to tell me a little bit, or your YTP poetic.
Yes.
How long? Just give me a rundown. What do you tell people who you are? I want to hear it. And I'm sure your audience knows, but maybe there's some new listeners out there.
It may be. You never know. Well, I just let everybody know that I am Yehloe the Poet, or some people just call me YTP. Just depends. And I let everybody know that my goal is to reach one person in terms of motivating them or receiving messages through my poems. And if I can reach that one person, that means that one person will go out there and spread the word to somebody else. And each of those people are spreading the word to somebody else. And as long as that tree branch or those branches are constantly growing, I'm happy. I'm satisfied with that because that means that there's a lot of more people being inspired throughout the world.
Yeah, I like that. That's music to my ears. That's called unity and diversity.
Yes,
It's what it
indeed.
sounds like to me.
Yes, indeed.
So what is like can you have a short version of something that you know by heart that I can hear?
Most definitely. I'll give you a struggle.
Okay.
Every day I was told that this right here is the sweet, sweet land of liberty. And if this land is so sweet and liberal, then why am I surrounded by sin and fallacies? These people used us to shed blood for a country we didn't even come from. They string us along and lie to us about the truth, trying not to make us feel dumb. The other cheek is turned while our children go outside to play, but their children have indoor pools, games, more money than they can count, and a nice place to stay. We live in a society controlled by greed, weed, and drugs. Territorial fools label themselves with tattoos as phony thugs. Peace is an unheard of area in our neck of the wood. We living on broken promises that make politicians look good. The struggle is real. The struggle is real. Make no doubt about it. The struggle is real.
Wow. Man, where's my golden buzzer for AGT? Come on now. We got to put you to the finals of AGT. We got to make this go viral. Come on. That's good.
Thank you so much.
Oh,
Thank you.
that was perfect too with just what we've been talking about, you know?
Indeed, indeed. And that poem that I wrote, Struggle, probably about 10 years ago, has been getting a lot of attention lately. And the goal for that poem, the reason why I don't place specifics in there is because it's geared towards anyone who is actually going through different types of struggles in their lives in various categories. You can understand it. It's like you've lived that life and you understand that this is real. This is something that actually happens to a multitude of people, irregardless to race, color, creed,
That's right.
nationality, or any of that.
That's so true. I mean, look at me as the little girl at 9 years old. My daddy's moving me out of the city, thinking we're going to be safe in the rural area. And that went wrong real fast. And you know what? We might have been safer on the south side of Milwaukee at the time, many, many years ago, but it's everywhere. So, wow, the struggle is everywhere.
The struggle is everywhere and it's real. Anybody who think that the struggle is not real, something's wrong with them.
But what my mantra is, with God, grit, and grace, you can get through the struggles. Because let me tell you, I've been through them, and there's going to be more to come. Indeed. I will be challenged. I have been challenged, even as being a business owner today. I'm working with an African American couple in Arizona. She has an MBA certificate and education. They both work full time, have a beautiful baby boy. They own their home. They are more than qualified to finance this wonderful, established in-home healthcare agency. We met with the seller via Zoom 3 weeks ago. Right. And the business broker was on the call as well, but he just didn't seem real interested. He wasn't really participating. Well, after the call, the business seller, a baby boomer, white fella, he's a wonderful, sweet soul, really liked my clients. And she made an offer on the business, but the offer had to go through the business broker, a white fella. I don't know him. And it was promised by him and the business seller that he was going to forward to us the tax returns on the business so we could get rolling with the banks and start moving her toward an accepted offer and getting the financing in place. Right. Well, the broker just stopped calling or wouldn't call her back. She kept calling, where are the financials? Same here with me. I kept emailing him, where are the financials? He never would respond. So she took it upon herself, my buyer,
Mhm.
Yeah. And she called the seller herself and found out he didn't even know about the offer.
Oh, wow.
So I'm just going to close right there to say the struggle is real and it's happening right here, right now, in front of my face. So I will
Yes,
continue to
indeed.
be that voice of reason, YTP.
You are definitely inspirational to not only me, but to the world. And I feel like the world would definitely owe you at least a listening ear to hear what you have to say and pay close attention, because you definitely lay it out on the table the way that they need to hear it. And I love that. I love it.
I feel the
So
same
do me
way
a
about
favor,
you.
Miss Deb. Take us out with something motivational that you would love for your people to get from you.
Mm. Call to action is always, everyone's like, what's your call to action? I'm not here for anything. I don't want anything. What I want, well, I should reverse that. I don't need anything, but what I do want is everyone that's listening to practice unity and diversity, no matter what your gender or what color we are. And just
Exactly.
spread kindness and love. And let's all be a voice of reason to pull together and change the narrative so the small business ownership opportunities are fair and equal for everyone.
Yes, indeed. I totally agree with you.
Mhm.
Thank you so much, Miss Deb. It has been more than a pleasure having you on the show. You are definitely, and I would much rather say this to your face, you
Aw,
are definitely one of the people that has made this an exciting podcast, has definitely shared information that I feel like everybody could benefit from. And your struggles, I can't say that I don't understand, because that would be a lie, but I am so happy that you made it through those struggles and persevered in the position that you are in today. Many blessings to you, and thank you over and
thank you.
over
All
again.
right. Thank you, YTP.
You are so welcome, Ms. Deb. Have a blessed and wonderful day. YTP Entertainment, and we are signing out. Thank you so much.